Good day and welcome. Welcome to NAC TV's Coffee Chat. My name's Lyle Watson, and we're pleased to have as our guest today the administrator of our local ArtsForward, Yvonne Sisley. Thank you for taking the time to join us, and welcome, Yvonne, to Coffee Chat. And just how are things with you today?
Thank you, Lyle. I'm happy to be here. Things are great. They're very, very busy and lots on the go. So
the last time we talked was shortly after you took on the position of administrator, which is about a year and a half ago, after the COVID had settled down. And so you've got your feet wet and you've got a year and a half under your belt. My first question is, have we been able to overcome the pandemic portion in terms of the activities at ArtsForward?
Absolutely. We're finding COVID is still around, of course, but people have been very respectful with if they're not feeling good, they're not coming out to events and stuff. But our events are full. Like it doesn't seem to matter what we put on. We're able to get quite a number of people out. My goal when I had started was really to make ArtsForward a hub where people felt comfortable, that was all-inclusive and not expensive, so that people could come out for reasonably priced events, and it's really been working. So
yeah, because you have events going on most days, 6 or 7 days. The ArtsForward
yes.
is busy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like tomorrow, for example, we have chair Pilates at 1, we have martial arts at 4, Zumba at kids at 5, Zumba adults at 6, martial arts at 7. Plus we've got piano and guitar and all going on at the same time. And so that's just with classes, but we tend to try and run at least 2 events a month. The last one that we just did was our ladies game night, which was a lot of fun. I expect we're going to get a lot more ladies for the next one. And again, we had made that an inexpensive. It was $5 to get in and bring a non-perishable food item. We try and partner with as many organizations, so we were able to donate the non-perishable food items to the Salvation Army's food bank, and we try and do that with a lot of our events. Is have people bring that in because they're always needing food. So, but
you've also developed a bit of a balance. There's also some commercial aspects of ArtsForward that people are paying to rent the building for certain things.
Yeah, and actually our rentals, we've had to reduce the amount of rentals we have in because we have so much going on. So the space isn't available as much as it used to be. Like we have a dance school now that is in on Saturdays, so that does take up a lot of our Saturday rental space, but it's been awesome because it's Sienna Denny's Peters dance school, and she's very highly trained and she runs a fantastic program. So that's bringing in over 40 kids on Saturdays.
40 kids.
Over 40
yeah.
Into ArtsForward. So that in itself, so you've got one weekend day every weekend that's almost all used up. So yeah. We are able to rent it out. We do rent out the rooms, and but we're definitely reducing the number because we just have too much going on. Yeah. And if we run events, we run them Friday nights, so that takes out that rental, and yeah.
But I noticed yesterday, for instance, you also. And you mentioned the word partnership, and I'm going to ask you to expand on that because I think the future of our community, as all communities, relies on the partnership of people working together. Could you just comment on that a bit?
Well, so for example, yesterday we had Mums Morning Out, which is a program that came about out of a discussion when we did our partnership with Co-op and Farmery for Charcuterie Night. It was brought up how great the space was. We're missing this program in our community. Somebody needs to step up and do a program to get mums out for the mental health aspect, just so they could socialize and have that little bit of a break, but also know their children are being looked after, very well looked after by all the grandmas in Neepawa. So we partnered with Miles for Mental Health for that one. I went to Diane Martin and we talked about it, and she thought it was a great program. So, they've been a huge proponent with that one. And then yesterday morning we had Men's Shed in as well. which for me is another partnership. Men's Shed has done so much for us. Our Field to Table Club, the garden boxes, and there's some other stuff in the works. We've got some stuff in the works this summer that we're doing with benches, which Men's Shed's going to be working on for us. But they needed a meeting space. So it's that partnership. Okay, absolutely, we can give you guys a meeting space and do what we can for you guys. We're working together. And I know I just went to an arts, culture, tourism summit in Winnipeg a couple weeks ago that Manitoba Tourism had put on, and the message that was put out there was one that I think somewhat shocked some people, but yet it is what's happening in today's day and age with organizations. And the message was basically, you can't try and bring things back to what they were pre-pandemic, because the world is much different.
Yes.
And you have to start thinking outside the box, and you can't try and run an organization the way it was always run. Our volunteers are aging out. Organizations are dying out, so the more partnerships that any organization can form, the stronger everybody's going to be moving forward. And I think that's key. It doesn't matter if you're big city or small town.
And that kind of relates to government funding and grants if the partnership isn't there.
Well, one thing that was mentioned at the tourism summit was that the government is starting to look at, do we keep granting floundering organizations and take money away from organizations that are doing well or working outside the box or working their butts off, basically, just to try and make sure that they can get programming and give their community what they need. And like they said, it's soon going to change to where those ones aren't going to be funded anymore.
Yep.
And without funding, there will be no organization there. So it's a matter of partnering. And we're another partnership that will be moving forward next year. Kaleidoscope is one. They're going to start running their concerts. It'll be more like a cabaret out of ArtsForward, so that people can have a comfortable atmosphere. They can sit at a table, they can have some snacks, some beverages, and enjoy some wonderful music. But it's to try and keep these organizations going. So Kaleidoscope had come to ArtsForward and talked to us about what we could do to help. And yes, we've got the facility, so we're going to offer the facility. They'll still run Kaleidoscope, but that partnership will hopefully keep Kaleidoscope going.
Yep. So there will be some changes.
Yes, there will be changes, and they recognize that, which was very important. Yep. So.
You mentioned mental health, and you mentioned the fact that you said you had partnered with Men's Shed. Mm-hmm. And of course, Men's Shed is all about mental health, as the women's program, you know, mental health is more openly talked about, but it also seems to be on the increase. I don't know whether that's just because we're talking about it more or not. But
I think from what we've seen anyway, and where we're gearing our programming towards, the pandemic really took its toll on, I think, everybody. So if there was any underlying issues maybe with somebody that they were able to manage and kind of get through, the pandemic seemed to really exasperate some issues that people had, and more people are struggling. The world's changed. It's a much different world, and you'll see with our programming, a lot of our programming is health and wellness for mental health, basically, because we saw that's what people needed. And it's amazing, just even the social aspect, like the ladies' game night is actually, we put it under mental health and wellness because it was a social aspect. It was a night to get people out just to have some fun and just relax and enjoy themselves. And like I say, I think we're going to build on it. Everybody seemed to have a really good time. So, but it is all of that we're looking at as well. We're arts and culture, but in that, there's a huge mental health aspect.
Speaking of culture, and of course, that's a big goal of yours too, is the inclusiveness. And being that we have a lot of newcomers, a new culture in town that we're pleased to have with us. Are you finding the participation with the Filipino people? Are they participating in a lot of the programs?
Oh, absolutely. And it's more so, it's for us to also, we work with settlement services. All of the staff over there and Dawn have been great. just to encourage the newcomers to town to come and check out our facility and see what it's all about. Our Mums Morning Out, we have some mums through the Settlement Services program that do come out specifically, that the staff there will bring them over just so they can socialize and understand what our facility is about and the programming we have. We do a lot to try and bring in like you say, like we want to be an all-inclusive facility, so we do a lot to bring in all of the cultures that we have in Nipawin. We have great many different cultures in Nipawin. And when I plan programming, it is also looking at our cultures, where people are at financially, to make it inclusive, just even in financial brackets. We've got a program that we're working on, fingers crossed. I think it's going to be a go for this summer, which is going to be a theater camp this summer. I had contacted, Mecca is a great organization, but they have to pay their people to come out and stuff, so it was just too much for us to be able to bring them out. But I contacted Allison Bailey, Megan Peters, Angie Weisgerber, and Sylvie. Still waiting to hear back from Sylvie, but I think she'll be on board. But the other three, absolutely, they'll come in and they're going to run a theater camp so that we can bring in the whole community at a very minimal cost for an entire week, which will bring in a lot of our immigrants, because we have some pretty talented immigrants that have come into our population. As anybody that saw The Little Mermaid Junior saw just the diversity in the cast and how it was amazing. So to have those directors from that come in, and Angie come over from HMK, and everybody willing to help out and donate and do what they can to make that run. So that's an example too of the inclusivity. So
wow. Well, it's sure great for the community to see that inclusiveness, and I know you will continue to work towards that.
Oh, yes.
The other thing I'd like to touch briefly on, Family Day is coming up.
Yes.
February 20th, and what have you got happening there, or what's been your experience working with that group?
So I kind of have a couple of different roles in that. I have ArtsForward. I have my counselor role because I'm chair for the recreation committee, and as ArtsForward I also work with Heidi, who's filling in for Nicole Cooper on her mat leave, Heidi Nugent. So I've been working a lot with it. So the day is going to start off with a pancake breakfast at ArtsForward. I do believe that's 9 to 11. Yeah, I think that's the time. Don't quote me on that, but it is in the morning, and it will be advertised.
And there will be pancakes.
And there will be pancakes, yes. And then Heidi came up with this great idea for a chili cook-off, and to have nonprofits compete in it. Dallas and Paul Robertson are going to donate the hamburger for the chili, so that the nonprofits don't have to put out all the money for their chili. And it's basically just a little sample, so everybody will have a crock pot, which they'll be preparing in our commercial kitchen at ArtsForward. But so far we've got Margaret Lawrence Home, ArtsForward, Touchwood's going to compete in it. One of their board members will be serving up the chili. And we're just waiting to hear back from a couple of organizations. We're hoping that the museum is another one, and the Roxy Theatre. So if we can get 5 organizations in, and then Heidi has been able to get, it'll be a $200 donation to whichever organization wins it. So great idea, and that little bit of extra money for a nonprofit, which is great.
So how many nonprofit organizations could you handle?
Well, unfortunately, because we have the pancake breakfast, we can't handle too many, because the chili has to be cooked that morning. So this is the first year we're going to try this, and if we can get this expanded, then I think next year we could have far more organizations. It's been tough because we've put out asking a lot of other organizations, but it is a long weekend and not everybody's around. So that's been part of it. So if we get 5, I think we're going to be pretty happy if we can get those 5 in. Also, there'll be Skating with the Titans down at the Flats. They'll be down there. We're going to have, I think it's Co-op who's donated hot dogs. We're going to have hot dogs. We'll have fires down there. Muriel Gammy, who is a trooper and is always supportive of everything in town. She's setting up her obstacle course down there. One thing, Unfortunately, we won't be able to have the sleigh rides. It's financially, the sleigh rides, it was too much money for the town to be able to do the sleigh rides for Winterfest and do them for Canada Day.
Oh, yes.
And there just wasn't the sponsorships that came in.
Okay.
So they're trying to work with what they've got and make the best day for everybody out of it. So
it's another fact of reality.
yes, yep, absolutely. And they really want to try and have Canada Day be that huge full day where they can have those. So yeah. And volunteers too. They're still looking for volunteers. So it's one thing that organizations are finding. The town is no different than a lot of other organizations, just trying to get volunteers for their days as well.
In general, when you reach out for volunteers, how do you feel about the reception of our community in terms of volunteering?
I will say at ArtsForward, we've been very, very lucky. I had a great board, and then we've added to that great board. And the people that we've added to the board are a little bit younger, and they're bringing a different volunteer group in. Mostly probably moms who the kids have just, recently gone off to university, and all of a sudden they realize they have time now. So we've been very fortunate. My board has really done a great job at recruiting volunteers, but I know there's many organizations struggling to get volunteers out, struggling to get members out for their organizations. And that goes back to what I was saying with the partnerships. I think you're going to see more and more are going to have to almost amalgamate, whether it be operations or just a certain with their volunteer lists or anything like that, just to try and to keep going.
Yeah. Now, do you have room in ArtsForward's agenda to create more arts and culture programs, or are you getting near your capacity?
It's been a little busy. So we're working on some other stuff. So we have our Indigenous Culture Day, which we will run again this year. It is a very expensive day to run, and I don't think the town realizes how many grants I have to get to ensure that day is what it is. We're expanding on that day this year. We're adding a ribbon skirt station in. We have the grade 7s who will be down there all day again, and they get to do the learning stations, plus we'll have the 2 powwows again. The crew that we get in for that are phenomenal. They come from Sandy Bay First Nation, Rolling River First Nation, to Tasqueyac Cree Nation, Ebb and Flow First Nation. Oh, I'm missing one. Oh, that's awful. I'm missing one.
Long Plains.
Oh, Wayway.
Oh, Wayway.
Yes, is the other one. They're phenomenal. They are very supportive of the day. So I've put in for another grant. Fingers crossed we can get this. Is they will come and do basically a mini powwow on Canada Day. I feel it's very important. If we're celebrating Canada, we have to truly celebrate Canada as to how we came about, which just even with our February long weekend and Louis Riel, he was the founder of Manitoba. We have to celebrate the Métis. We have to celebrate the homeland that we're on, our Treaty 2 territory, and those that created this. So hopefully we can get that in. If we get the grant, that will be a goal as well, as to be part of something for Canada Day. We're working on our raft again this year, which was our live art. It's July 22nd this year. We had, I think, 6 artists last year, and I think we're up to 12 or 13 artists that are going to participate this year. We've got some really cool stuff that'll be happening that day. It's going to be a full day event in conjunction with the Riverbend Market again. And we're looking at partnering with Co-op on that one. We partnered with Co-op for the charcuterie night, Co-op and Farmery. And everybody was really pleased with how that went, all the businesses and organizations. So we're looking at possibly, it's still in discussion, closing off the side street and maybe have a little bit of a festival area there during the live art. So that's going to be something happening with that. But I'm open to lots. We are very fortunate. I am. Katie Martin is taking a leave of absence from the school for a year. She is the high school art teacher. Yes. It's going to benefit ArtsForward greatly. She's doing 3 shows, 3 different exhibits throughout the year, and Katie's going to be doing some teaching with the students during those exhibits. So we're going to be able to engage all of the Beautiful Plains School Division students in Neepawa in those shows. So that's going to be huge in itself too.
I just want to touch on that. You've done a great job, Yvonne, on displaying and promoting local artists.
We have so many.
I've heard so many comments on the street, and we've had family come home and visit, and other people coming to visit. They go down to ArtsForward and they look at some of those displays, and they're very impressive. In fact, in one case, one of the artists was able to sell a piece that's back in BC now, you know. So you've done a good job. And is there room to expand that in the local artists?
Oh, there is room to expand. To me, there's always room to move forward on any of that, expanding, adding more, whether it be shows or just even in the artisan space. I think right now I have 16 artists displaying in that artisan space, all from our area.
I'm just thinking, Yvonne, that you have a plate full of existing programs and your programs that are continuing on. What are your thoughts for future programming in the days, weeks, and months ahead?
So there's lots in the works. We're very fortunate with all the artists that we have. Katie Martin's going to be doing a bunch of stuff. She's got her paint night coming up March 3rd. We're doing a paint afternoon on Mother's Day afternoon. We thought it'd be a really cool mom and daughter paint afternoon with her as well. So we've got more paint nights for her throughout the year. Gwen Barilla once a month is doing art classes. Her next one, she just did this resin pour coaster class, which they turned out very cool. She's going to do a paint blowout February 28th, which I want anybody to just Google what that is because it's super cool, those ones. I'm just going to have to put plastic on the floors though because I think it's going to be a messy one. And we've got Shannon Desjardins who comes in and does classes. Megan Peters has been phenomenal, and Megan will be part of what I hope will come to fruition with our theater camp. Yep. But I'm open to anything. We've got so much opportunity that if we can make it work and I can get the volunteers in place, I'm open to any suggestions. And that's how this Mom's Morning Out came about, was a mom saying it was a lifesaver for her when she lived in Winnipeg. She had 3 young children, and it's what she said basically kept her sane some days with the kids. So I mean, and we were able to put that in place, and the support for that's been huge. So yeah, there's tons and tons of stuff coming up. Just you can check us out on Facebook or Instagram at ArtsForward, or our website is artsforward.weebly.com, which is updated regularly, so you can see any of the new programming we've got. Another new one starting this week, which I'm super excited about, is Zumba with Solange LaBelle from Minnedosa. She's a certified Zumba instructor, and she's fabulous. So we've finally got her here to start doing programming. She's done a couple of nights with the program Tara McCarty runs up at the Yellowhead for Girls Fit Club. She's come and done a couple of demonstration nights, and everybody's been.
Can you explain Zumba just a little bit for us?
Zumba, it is a dance exercise, basically, what it is.
So it's a combination.
Yes, it's a combination with great music playing, and it's a great fitness and mental health.
I was going to say, it sounds like it's good for mental, physical, and spiritual health of everybody.
Absolutely. Well, at our ladies' game night, we were playing music bingo, and it was interesting because what music can do for people. I think we had 21 ladies show up for ladies' game night, and it was a very eclectic group, all different, people from all different groups in town, and everybody was bouncing and singing and dancing in their chairs to the songs that would come up for music bingo. So music, it does definitely is.
It is the universal language.
It absolutely is. Yes.
Speaking of music, do you have qualified instructors coming in teaching music lessons, and for what instruments do you have covered?
So we have Amy Selke's piano school. She teaches at ArtsForward Wednesdays and Thursdays. Amy is phenomenal.
Is she from Neepawa?
No, she's from Gladstone area. She drives to teach. Actually, and Amy, her students, when we had HMK students in for their exhibit in December,
Yep.
Amy's students played through the gala evening for us. They
Oh.
were which was great. And her students will be playing for the high school exhibit that will be coming up in April. So her older students will play during that one. We have Ben Melnick from Minnedosa. Ben can teach anything, so he does guitar and drums and ukulele and mandolin and voice lessons and songwriting. So he comes in on Wednesdays. And Sarah Kuhn, she does violin on Thursdays.
Oh,
Yeah, so we have lots, which has been nice.
so you've got a good coverage of
Yes.
the instruments that are popular today.
Yes. Well, and so today, or so not today, tomorrow is Touchwood Art Class. Oh, yes, it is today. Today's Wednesday.
Yes, it-
Sorry. So Touchwood Art Class comes in, and I go down and take pictures so we can post on social media. And last week I could hear drums playing because they're in one room downstairs. So it's kind of neat to have all of that activity going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I can touch on the Touchwood Art Class.
Yes, oh, for sure.
So Jerry Oliver is their instructor. She's done it, oh gosh, I don't know how many years Jerry's done it at ArtsForward. And we started posting on social media this past fall with the art class because there's some really great artists.
Oh, yes.
Yes, absolutely. And what Jerry gets them to do, and it's just phenomenal, the product in the end. We have some on display at ArtsForward, but today after the class we will be going to Bruce Brothers, and their art will be on display. The artist's art will be on display for the month of February. And Jerry and I were talking last week, and Jerry is going to have them displaying at the Art Gallery of Southern Manitoba. She spoke to the curator there, so their art will be on display there as well. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Speaking of Bruce Brothers, recently Judy and I were in for lunch, and we noticed the display of art on the wall, and you can't help but kind of take it all in when you go in.
Yeah.
So that's a good place to
Mark
have it.
Mark and Stacy have done a great job there, and it just another organization wanting to support the artists in town. And Mark actually, him and I were talking because I've been in there to help put up some of those displays. He was looking at buying a cement bench out front, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second. We've got something in the works that's coming up this summer because we want to art bomb throughout the town, and we've got some benches, which Men's Shed's going to help us with. And he was like, really? He said, yeah, absolutely. So he's very supportive of the arts. So I think we're going to be having one out front of Bruce Brothers and Inika at It's Time. She's phenomenal. I said to her, we've been eyeing up your bench out front. Do you own that bench?
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like, yes, Ray made it. I said, ooh, would you mind if, we showed up one afternoon and art bombed it? And she is so excited. So once the weather warms up, we'll be doing Inika's bench. And I say I'll probably be doing the primer. It'll be Megan and Katie who will be doing
Yeah.
that. And they actually did Hidden Hollow. They did a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
mural inside Daryl and Belinda's store, and then they're going to be doing a mural the whole outside of the store. It's going to be beautiful.
And that just adds to the beauty of our downtown
Yes.
area. You get those
Yes.
benches set up, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so that'll be kind of part of our raft too, because we'll have artists outside. Last year they painted the piano, so I think we'll be doing some benches. I've got Clemente Villamil Jr. from Carberry. He's a Filipino artist. He works at ArtsForward right now as well. He's a street art artist, does a lot of spray paint. He's got, as I'm finding with a lot of artists, as they get older, they get arthritis in their hands. So he uses spray paint a lot. And Kennedy Baker's going to come work with him, and I don't know what spray paint street art they're going to create that day, but it's going to be pretty cool too. So yeah, there's I could talk and talk and talk about.
Well, I was just thinking, you've covered a lot of things in a short period of time, and our time is getting a little bit shorter. So I think I would like to take the opportunity to give you, Yvonne, an opportunity to sum up some of your thoughts and any messages that you would like to leave with our viewers today.
Okay. Well, one, stop in at ArtsForward. There is a lot going on at ArtsForward. And please, if you have ideas or suggestions about programming, I'm one person. My board is great with coming with ideas, but anything people can bring forward that we can have come to fruition that can benefit the community, we're 100% on board for it. Partnerships, I do want to go back to that. Partnerships are so key with our organizations. You know, I've been able to build some pretty strong partnerships. Beautiful Plains School Division is one that I hadn't mentioned, but they're partnering with us on Indigenous Culture Day.
Yep.
They see how important it is for their students, and you know, are so supportive with anything that we do at ArtsForward, because it is about, you know, including all of their students, and it's that give and take, and they've just been phenomenal with us. The town of Neepawa, and I'm not saying this as a counselor,
No.
I'm saying this as ArtsForward. The town of Neepawa, the partnership that I've been able to create and work with the recreation department and Marilyn Crew, and just the rest of the staff there, you know, just our Indigenous Culture Day, Public Works, those guys did so much for us so that we could have everything set up for Indigenous Culture Day. Our Field to Table Club, you know, Sheldon was in the backhoe, and if it wasn't for Sheldon bringing that compost dirt over, Glenda McPhee and I would have been shoveling for 2 days trying to get those garden boxes filled. Salvation Army, you know, any of these organizations that we can partner with and, you know, do stuff jointly on, it's so key for organizations. I don't think organizations can be standalones anymore if they're going to survive.
Yep.
So I think that is very important. And volunteers, you know, I apologize to those next week because I'll probably take some flack. I'm volunteering at Viterra. So I've got 3 shifts that I'll be out, and there'll be a sign up on my door at ArtsForward, and I'll be back when my shifts are done. But it is about volunteering. That's right. Too. If you're wondering what to do or you're looking for something to do, give me a call, because I can, if maybe you're not interested in the arts aspect, but maybe Margaret Lawrence Home or the museum or somebody else is looking for a volunteer. We've got so many people that just want to get out and want to socialize, and there's so many organizations looking for that help.
And that's where you have brought ArtsForward to being a hub. Like you say, people can come and talk to you about many different things, whether it's ideas for arts and culture or whether it's partnering with someone else.
Well, and you know, you look at the Mums Morning Out and how that came about, and it's the space. We've got an amazing space at ArtsForward that can be utilized for so much. Does it fall under maybe arts? Well, actually, we've made it fall under arts with what we've done with the mums, just because we always have an activity for them to do, right? Does it fall under culture? Well, we have made it because it is an inclusive environment where we have settlement services helping us bring in some of their new mums and different things, and the mental health aspect. But if you initially say Mums Morning Out at ArtsForward, people will be like, but it is how it encompasses everything. And so any idea for any programming I'm open to, because if we can make it work and bring people out and help people's mental health by getting them out, and keeping it affordable. You know, we have so many organizations. There's tons of grants out there, which I think I've applied for 18 now in the last 6 weeks, and then you sit and wait and hope that you get them. But there's granting opportunities, and there's, you know, we've got some very generous businesses in town. Neepawa Home Hardware, Michelle has been phenomenal. You know, Co-op Brian, they've done so much for us. Shop Easy, and I don't want to leave businesses out, but we have you know, the banner, even, you know, our advertising. We get 50% off of our advertising, which is huge because as a nonprofit you can't afford too much. But and just the coverage too with the paper. You know, they do give us a lot of coverage, and which is very beneficial for any nonprofit organization. But partnership. I cannot stress that enough with organizations, and to really open up the possibilities down the road. So.
Well, just in sitting and talking and listening to you today, I think we have a lot to be thankful for in our community.
Yes,
and we're thankful to have you and ArtsForward here, and we wish you well and continued success as we go on in the future, as you work towards partnering with a lot of people.
Yes.
We look forward to that. So thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you very much, Lyle.
You're welcome. Well, I hope you enjoyed our program today, and I think Yvonne has left us with a lot of food for thought, and if there's something you're interested in, whether it's volunteering, participating in whichever way you would like to, feel free to talk to Yvonne, and something will come of it. And with that, we hope that you've enjoyed our program, and until next time, stay happy and stay healthy.